Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Haysville Planning Commission to order. The first item of business is the roll call.
Williams,
Here.
True,
Here.
Coleman,
Here.
Kazir,
Here.
Wallace, Brinky, Blood.
Here. Next item of business is the approval of minutes of August 8, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 8th, 2024.
I'll second.
The motion second to approve as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? No public forum.
I think those are all for the conditional use.
Under new business, we have a review of the final plat of an AOI for TNT addition to Sedgwick County.
So you have the final plat in your packet and the staff report. This has been sent out to review again. Their changes were addressed to the final plat. The agent is here. Staff is recommending approval of this final plat.
Any questions for staff? Any general discussion? I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to recommend approval of final plat as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item B under new business, a public hearing for a conditional use to operate vehicle storage yard use
Thank you.
for Lot 5, Block E, Orchard Acres, addition to Haysville, Kansas. The Kansas Supreme Court's defined the role of the Planning Commission as a quasi-judicial function to protect the rights of all parties involved and in order to create an opportunity for everyone to speak their opinions and present information to assist the Planning Commission in reaching a decision. We now formally open the public hearing regarding the conditional use permit to allow vehicle storage unit, vehicle storage yard, truck park in Lot 5, Block E, Orchard Acres, Haysville, Sedgwick County, Kansas. Have any planning commissioners had any outside contact regarding this case?
No.
Do any members of the commission have a conflict of interest in this case?
No.
Has the secretary received any written or electronic communications in this matter?
Just was in the staff report.
All of it's in there?
Yes.
Staff want to present?
So you have in your packet a staff report. Garcia Trucking LLC has applied for conditional use on the lot at Lot 5, Block E in Orchard Acres. They are seeking a conditional use to permit a vehicle storage yard. The lot size is 2.635 acres. The property is currently zoned heavy commercial with a protective overlay, number 873. Property is platted and the protective overlay limits use on the property and provides screening. The protective overlay was requested by the Planning Commission due to surrounding residents' concerns about future commercial use when the property was changed to heavy commercial.
When was that?
I believe-
2005.
Okay.
I was gonna say early 2000s, so the property is currently vacant. The owner purchased the property in 2021. The zoning regulations have changed since the owner inquired about developing the property. A vehicle storage yard did change from a permitted use to a conditional use due to discussion amongst Planning Commission wanting to be able to regulate the conditions on those properties. So that is something that we changed back in 2023. So a vehicle storage yard is defined in the zoning code as a keeping outside of an enclosed building for more than 72 consecutive hours of one or more motor vehicles, except inoperable vehicles, boats, trailers, or unoccupied recreational vehicles. The term vehicle storage yard does not include wrecking salvage yard. The applicant has phases planned for this property. He originally was looking at a truck repair, and he is still looking at that, but this is the first phase of this project. Second phase would be a truck repair shop, which is a permitted use in heavy commercial. And the zoning chart references that we've went over and during planning commission meetings. So if this was a truck repair shop, just so everyone understands, the trucks, semi-trucks being on the property would be an incidental use to that and would be there, so, just so we know. With the conditional use, we are allowed to put terms on it, so we're gonna go through some different things. Adjacent property is zoned light commercial, two-family. It's definitely a mixed area, heavy commercial, two-family residential, mix of light industrial and heavier commercial across the street. Considerations that were taken into factors when they turned in this application: access and traffic load or flow. Access to this facility will be from Blossom Avenue. Access from Broadway was denied from KDOT due to the number of access points along that road, and it's a safety issue. That's because there's a lot of legal non-conforming, no, I wouldn't say that. There was previous access points there along Broadway before they,
That are grandfathered in.
yes, there we go. So, traffic load, the developer has estimated that there's gonna be about an average of 20 trucks in and out per day. There's a max capacity of 34 trucks in the parking lot. As I said, traffic flow will be from Broadway along Blossom to the private drive entrance. The owner has requested that the traffic flow will be between the hours of 4:30 and 9. Noise, light, and odor. Per our zoning regulations for heavy commercial lots, operations or products are not objectable due to odor, dust, smoke, noise, vibration, or other similar causes. Illumination shall be arranged to reflect away from adjacent lots. The owner has reported that he doesn't anticipate noise from the trucks, or just the trucks entering and exiting the parking lot. They aren't going to be unloading or loading product in the parking lot. Site lighting is expected to be security lighting and then just cameras. And then odor, there's no anticipated increase in odor from this use. Screening per the requirements of the zoning code, the heavy commercial district. Business activities or storage shall occur within fully enclosed structures or solid screened areas and shall not be visible from any adjacent non-elevated street, nor from ground level in any adjacent lot except as otherwise allowed or operated in accordance with these regulations. Outdoor storage must have an all-weather surface and be screened from adjacent properties and any public roadway, and no inoperable vehicle storage for more than 45 days. The applicant does plan to install an 8-foot wood fence along the west side. This is part of the protective overlay requirements. And then an 8-foot chain link fence on the north, east, and south sides with a fabric material to create that solid screening. Parking, as I stated, will be allowed for up to 35 semi-trucks. Services, water and sanitary sewer are not needed at this time. Of course, Evergy and Kansas Gas will provide those, but they are not needed for this. Well, Evergy will be, I'm sorry. Natural gas will be provided as well. Storm, sewer, drainage, they will have to meet the stormwater requirements. They have already worked with city engineers on site plans for that. Communications will be provided through multiple providers here in town. There is no anticipated health or safety issues to the residents. There's no anticipated health or safety issues to the residents or the community itself. The size of the facility and lot appears to be adequate. There is a site plan in the packet for you to review. Signage will have to comply with the city's sign code. We have not received anything on that. The site plan has been reviewed by Sedgwick County Fire. They did not have any issues with this. Other considerations to take into account would be the protective overlay that was placed on the property due to residents' concern for what the property would eventually be used for. Recommended action from staff is that we approve the conditional use with the following conditions. Number one, the storage of inoperable vehicles is not allowed. The storage of RVs, boats, cars, motorcycles, vehicle parts, miscellaneous same items are not allowed. Operating hours are only allowed from 5 to 8 p.m. No loading, unloading, transfer of trucks outside of operating hours. It is recommended that the parking lot be asphalt or concrete. That's what we would prefer. The applicant has asked to use AS1, which does meet the zoning regulations for an all-weather surface. There is a spec sheet in your packet for that. Screening requirement would be a solid 8-foot wood or concrete screening on all sides. No overnight sleepers or persons allowed to sleep on site in trucks. Trucks may not remain running after operating hours. And this conditional use permit would not exceed a 3-year duration. The applicant would have to notify the planning department when they start, and then the applicant would have to apply for a new permit at the end of 3 years. We've discussed this before just because of uses becoming legal non-conforming, and we don't want those to continue if we have problems. That's one of the reasons we put the time duration on there. The lot is a mixed-use area of commercial, industrial, residential use with lots ranging inside. We reviewed the land use map in November of 2023, which showed this as neighborhood mixed use. And once again, as I said, a vehicle storage yard is permitted as a conditional use in a heavy commercial district. Public notifications are listed in your packet of when they were posted. So, and then there's also attachments. I did receive public comment from several neighbors. Their comments are listed in the packet. I'm not going to read each one, but I did receive comments from Dan Kaywood several times, Bill Sutter, Evan Leedy, Glenn Kaywood, Kent and Julie Taylor. There is an email in there that they sent for you to review. And then there is also a unofficial protest petition that was turned in to me in your packet as well. That is all I have unless you have some questions on the staff report.
Any questions for staff? The applicant or their agent here,
Yes.
if you'd like to present.
Sure.
Good afternoon. My name is Bo Jarvis. I'm from Tesserae Architecture in Wichita, Kansas. Our client is Garcia Trucking, Omero Garcia. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here this evening. The planning meeting has moved a couple of times because we had some issues with getting the right people notified.
That's on us, not you.
Okay, well, appreciate your time this evening, and I appreciate you all coming out. I've heard some concerns about the truck park. What staff presented earlier was our understanding of the project, that we are permitted to have a vehicle repair storage on this site as it's currently zoned. The owner prefers to, he wanted to get started parking trucks there first and then build the repair center later. So that's the issue for the conditional permit. There were some concerns raised from the community about noise and dust issues. We believe that we've, with the design of the site, we've taken care of some of those things to the best of our ability. There are, all the zoning requirements are met, so we're gonna have the fence around the entire property. There's also a landscaping plan, which is not included in your package, but which we can provide to you, which will have London plane trees along the residential side of that as well as the fence. And so those will be 50 feet eventually, obviously not at the beginning, but that'll create a buffer, and that vegetation will also help, we hope, with some of the noise problems that there could be there. The owner would also like to extend the staff recommendation to 4:30 a.m. He thinks that for the most part, his trucks are gonna be in and out in the morning and then at night. They're not gonna come in and out all day. He runs grain trucks right now. He has specific truckers that he works with, and so they have specific types of work that they do. And so it's early morning and late. And I think just from our perspective, it seems like if he could get his trucks in and out early, that would obstruct traffic less in that area. We did try to get the entrance off of Broadway, and KDOT unfortunately wouldn't let us do that. So we had to go with Blossom, and that was the only option we had. I think after looking at this though, there's some properties around that are not to the same level of this, but I believe what we have designed here and what the owner wants to do is to bring the standard up there and to really comply with what the current zoning is. So we have some pictures of, the wood fence is gonna be a nice wood fence, and he's gonna keep, the parking area itself is not just gravel, it's gonna have binding in it. So it's basically the gravel that you see on the side of a road. It's the KDOT spec for the shoulder. So it does compact and it doesn't turn into dust. We do prefer, he does wish that he doesn't want to do asphalt there. That will be a very difficult thing to do and probably be more expensive than he can afford for that. So we're hoping to use that AS1 spec for the gravel there. I think with the landscape plan and the zoning regulations that we've complied with there, that this project is a lot better than what we have there now, and I think it'd be a good project to move forward with.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thanks.
Now's the time for any member of the public to speak. Please remember that you're welcome to present your opinion, but past court rulings require that we make decisions based on facts, so factual evidence is much more helpful than opinion. We'll give you all each 3 minutes, and let me also state, we're paying attention, so 15 people standing up there saying the exact same thing isn't gonna benefit anyone else except keep us all here longer. If you're gonna say the same thing as the person before you, elect someone to speak for that small group. If you all have individual things that you wanna cover, that's fine. Just, we're trying to keep it as direct as possible, so staff, could you keep a timer and let them know when 3 minutes is up? And if you go past 3 minutes and we think that you're on a roll, we wanna give you more time, we'll vote to give you that. Please state your name and address for the record.
Are you ready?
I actually should call for who I have as speakers.
Dan Kaywood, C-A-Y-W-O-O-D. I've been a resident of Orchard Acres for 44 years. I very well know how and why the zoning was changed, so we'll go through that a little bit. In 2005, the residents of Orchard Acres, including myself and my neighbors, stood before the Planning Commission regarding the zoning change. We agreed, after many discussions, to change from D light to commercial E heavy because of the lot 5 was to be changed and used for a classic auto plaza. So we all got together at that time and we had 2 or 3 meetings in this building with that. So it wasn't just the zoning that agreed to this. It was a combination between the mayor and the city that we came to this conclusion. We could have gone on and on, but we didn't. We just set some general boundaries. So the west side of 81 Broadway is residential, with the exception of the VFW and the Three Brothers garage doors. They maintain their property perfectly. They're very well, they're very nice people. Haysville has been improving Broadway for several years. They've been trying to do that, considering allowing vehicle storage yard for large trucks defeats this purpose. To my knowledge, parking large trucks or semis in residential areas anywhere in Haysville is not allowed. I'd be glad for you to show me any lot that they allow that to be done to. Kansas Department of Transportation did deny the access off of Broadway, and now that means that Haysville will then force KDOT to use residential streets for the use of what should be US 81. The same traffic congestion is still gonna exist, whether it comes in off of Blossom or if it comes in off the front of the building or the parking lot. So there's still gonna be that congestion and that much trouble. The underlay on Blossom was stopped. It's never been finished, nor has it been brought up to code. It was just top coated because there wasn't money to complete the operation. They stopped it there right at the intersection of where lot 5 is. So with the 60 maximum trips per day that's written in the packet that was provided to us, it says, yes, it starts out with 20, but it goes up to 60, 7 days a week, 4:30 to 9:30. All this traffic takes place while residents are there, as well as school buses entering and exiting the property. Ordinance 873 was negotiated by the residents to protect our living conditions. I would ask the family members of the Planning Commission, the City Commission, and the mayor would subject themselves to this, what they're asking us to be subjected to. And I don't see that anywhere in this. I've lived in Haysville, like I said, over 44 years. I don't know of any place that is being put to this. I've just learned that you can park semis if you want at the casino. So we don't need them parked in our area. And there's more restrictions that should be on that lot than what we asked for just to allow the plaza to be put in. We tried, and now you're trying to put something against our will in place. And I thank you for your nice speech. Georgie's put it directly, but it's not exactly true, exactly what has been done here. And I hate to say it straight out, we've had some discussions. So we'd like to know when the planning commission submits their recommendation to the city council and what the recommendation will fully be, what time that is submitted. We'd like to know exactly when that's done. So all I can say is I'm very unhappy with the way Haysville is acting as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys want to choose your own order? You want me to do it for you?
Yeah.
Michael Peck,
It's Peak.
Peak, sorry.
Honestly, I couldn't say anything more than what he did.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Bonnie Boys,
I'm here. My name's Bonnie Boyce, and I have property at 1325 East Dirk, where my grandson lives, and that's my current concern. He has 3 children. We're on the bus route, and the bus comes anywhere from 7 to 8:30, depending on what age they are. My concern is their safety. And the fact that these trucks could be coming in at 7:30 or whatever, and I have a granddaughter who meets the bus at, let me see, I'm trying to think of the name of the street.
Spring Circle and Spring Circle.
No, Riley, on Riley. She meets it there. She meets at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's dark, just dark. Sometimes she has to go at 6 because she's in sports. Anyway, my concern is the safety of these children, to be honest with you. Because, you know, and I'm not against truckers, I'm really not. But we don't know these people, and not just men, but women too. And we don't know if the company that they work for, are they doing an extensive check on their, you know, where they're from, what they're doing? Do they have any possibilities against children? We don't know. And I think that is a verified point. So my concern is the children. Thank you.
thank you. Madeline Bowmaker,
Hello, I'm Madeline Bowmaker. I live at 330 South Twin Pines Avenue. So my lot backs up to the empty lot. And I appreciate the conditions that were recommended for the conditional use. However, I'm still against the truck stop being put into the lot. I'm a first-time homeowner. The house I'm living in was my grandparents' house that they built in 1984. And I've put a lot of work into updating the home, and I would not have done all that work had I known something like this could have been going into the lot behind my house. Whether there's an 8-foot screening or not, it's gonna be an eyesore. I also appreciate the trees that you mentioned, but I mean, it's gonna be like 10 years before those suckers are all grown up. The truck park will decrease property values, and I worry I may have problems selling my house when the time comes because it will be behind the house. I also have concerns about the safety of the trucks coming off Blossom, but I won't get into that because Dan already did. Sorry. I understand that the conditional approval mentions that the truckers cannot sleep in the trucks and their trucks may not remain running after operating hours. I don't have young kids to worry about, and I work during the day, but I do have neighbors that have young kids, and the amount of noise from the trucks is concerning. And I am also concerned about whether or not someone's going to be monitoring if the trucks are running after hours or not, or if they're sleeping in the trucks or not. And I just don't really see the need for the truck park if they can't sleep in the trucks, especially since the casino offers the free truck parking down the road. So, thank you for your time.
thank you. Carrie McDonald,
Hi, my name's Carrie McDonald. I live at 1219 East Dirk. My husband was supposed to come and speak tonight. He is a truck driver. In order for him to drive a truck, he has to take a test every year and pass over sex trafficking. And I wish he was here because he had all these pamphlets to pass out to everyone. But that's a major concern, is sex trafficking, drug trafficking, crime in general. I love truck drivers. I mean, I'm married to one, but like, they're not always like, I mean, there could be some shady ones out there. I'm very concerned about my property value. I know as soon as that goes in, my property value is just gonna go down. I know it's already been said, but I'm also concerned about the children. Not only the trucks coming in and out, but just like for their safety. I mean, we're not even a half a mile from I-35. Go either direction and then get me out of the country. So that is very concerning to have these truck drivers right here by our neighborhood. And I know you don't want to hear it again, but I don't agree with the noise situation, especially on the asphalt. Like, I mean, those trucks are big. That's only going to last so long, and that it's going to eventually deteriorate. It's going to be powder eventually. So that's a concern of mine, and the noise. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to rebut any comments or respond to anything?
I'll just make a comment. I'm just here representing the client. You know, it's a project that we think is a good project for the zone. I understand where you're all coming from, you know. So, we're from our perspective, it's zoned for this type of use. I mean, a similar type of use. We can put a truck repair spot there. The thing is, what we're trying to do, since we have that, is do the best we can with the property that we have there. So we're putting the fence up, we're doing some plantings, and there's a swale. We're going to take care of all the drainage on the property, so there will be no draining off of the property. So I think it will be better than the past of the types of businesses that are there. And I know that Mr. Garcia is interested in being a good business owner in the city of Haysville.
But my question to you is,
If
would
you
you
would
want
step up.
that?
I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just,
Sorry.
the
Sorry.
mic is here so we can hear you.
Would you want that backed up to your neighborhood? Do you have small children, green
I
kids?
do have kids.
Would you want that adjacent to your yard? Would you feel safe?
It would be difficult.
But would you feel safe? Be honest, because
I don't know. I don't think
I
that
don't
would be
think
good
you
for me,
would, not
no.
with babies in the house.
Yeah.
And I don't have babies, I have
Yeah,
grandbabies, but
understand.
still, like,
Yeah,
it's not safe, so, sorry.
I hear you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but there was one other thing in the layout that was interesting to me. It was stated that there will be no water. Excuse me, but with a facility that's open from 4:30 to 9:30 at 9 o'clock at night, no water, no facility for them to, let's say, do business. I'm sorry, but nobody knows when you need to use, but do business. So that should be administered and looked at. And again, safety is a concern, but I think generally the layout is very poor for our neighborhood. So I'm done, thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to rebut? No? Public comment portion of this public hearing is now closed. The floor is open to commissioners' comments. Any discussion?
So I went down there the other day, and watched buses. And
We
I
can't
never-
hear.
We can't hear you.
Sorry?
We can't
We
hear.
can't hear you.
Oh, okay. I went down there the other day and watched buses. I never saw a bus unload children at Broadway and Blossom.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They have to come down.
They have to come in our neighborhood. I have a
I'm
17-year-old
sorry,
son
can I-
who's trying to
Blossom
turn
is
out
our only
and can't with the
Hey,
traffic
guys,
alone,
they're not-
Hey.
right now. Okay,
So,
Sorry.
as I was saying,
sorry.
I never saw in the short time I was there, I never saw a bus unload children there off of Broadway. So they all turned in and they all went in the addition, which that was one of my concerns, is if the buses stop on Broadway and let all the kids off and they have to walk down Blossom, that was a concern for me. That's why I went down there and looked and sat and watched to see. But that was me one day for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long I saw those buses come in. So that was one of my questions was, you know, do any of the school buses stop on Broadway, or do all of them go into the area?
I don't know that information.
Yeah. From what I saw, I never saw one stop on Broadway, which was good.
Any other discussion or questions? Yep.
I am interested in the lack of water. You know, I think the gentleman makes a good point. Was there a particular reason for that?
I think the owners, do you want me to stand up there? Okay, sorry.
There is a speaker there, but.
Okay. He definitely intends to do the second phase of the work, which will be a repair shop. So he wants to build a repair shop and a cleaning station for his trucks there on that property. His main concern is he's had the land for a few years and he wants to get some property, he wants to use it for a business. So he'd like to get trucks in there so he can start parking them, but his intention is to have a repair shop, and then he wants to expand to have a different area where there's a truck park down the road. But since he's been sitting on this land for 3 years, I don't know when he bought it, he wants to see some, profit out of that land that's been sitting there. We did have a lot, just to add a little bit, there were
Sorry.
a lot of.
To be clear, you said down the road, but on this site in the future is what you meant?
Yes, sir, on
Okay.
this site in the future, repair shop, and then on a different site, his main trucking park. So he's looking for another place north Park City for a larger truck park. So this is a temporary, he wants to get his people in to use this now, and then he wants to put a repair spot on this for the trucks, and they will park somewhere else eventually.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have a concern about the wear and tear on Blossom, especially where the trucks tearing up the asphalt. I mean, I don't know how thick it is there or how it was engineered, but I have a concern there.
I don't know for sure. My educated guess would be that it's probably 6 or 7 inches of asphalt on dirt, and it's not in good shape now. That concern is a valid one. What they have done on the site plan, if you look at that, is a full concrete drive with an actual truck turn radius built into it. So that is correct and done correctly, but their responsibility is not the street. That's gonna have to be and ultimately fall on the city of Haysville. And it's something that was not done when your neighborhood was changed to asphalt street and curb and gutter. It will probably have to be done sooner rather than later, especially if this happens, but that's something that's gonna have to be on the city of Haysville ultimately. But not something that we shouldn't consider because it's additional cost for the city, at least sooner rather than later. One of the other concerns that I had was that whole thing being gravel. I personally don't love it. I think that your pavement section is adequate and better than I expected, so I appreciate that. But then as I look up and down Broadway, there are plenty of other existing uses with gravel parking lots, and it seems overly burdensome to require this of this one property when we've allowed everyone else to do a gravel parking lot. The fence, staff recommends wood fence all the way around. That's the final recommendation. The existing recommendation that was in the packet.
You guys can modify the recommendation to how you want. That's what staff recommended to you. The
That-
final recommendation comes from you.
So seeing the wood against the back and chain link against all the other sides, I wasn't a big fan of. I would appreciate wood all the way around. Like I said, I don't feel that I'm a fan of the gravel parking lot, but I get it. I appreciate the concrete driveway also. I assume there's gonna be lighting and cameras and everything else that comes with that. I don't know where you're gonna run it into if you don't have a building that has water and sewer in it, but not necessarily our concern at this point, but I think that is a valid one. I think providing restrooms for, let's call them customers or whatever they are to you, is maybe not the worst idea and probably should be revisited. Those were my major concerns, but at the end of the day, I think where I come down on this is an allowed use in this zoned property that has been zoned for quite some time this way. And regardless of how the zoning got changed in the first place, when we rezone a property, it's not for a specific use. It is for, this property is going to be zoned for this use in the future, or any of these ancillary uses that are adjacent to it. And I get that it feels like a bait and switch, and for that I apologize, but all of what is being done is completely within the realm of what is appropriate for a planning commission. I don't know if there's more discussion. I'm happy to have more, Deb.
I have a question. I too went down there and observed the park property. And I agree, that we need a wood fence all the way around on 4 sides for the homeowners, for the VFW, for the garage door and the tire. I think we need it enclosed with a wood fence. What about gating?
We do have a plan for a gate, and he does want to have an auto gate, so it'll be a electrically automated
Drive up
gate.
and
Yes, and it'll have
motion.
each truck driver will have their own opener for that. So the people that work for him are contractors, I get the sense, but they're more like employees. He has a certain set of people that work for him, and so he wants to have them have that automatic access.
So it won't be random trucks.
That would
going in.
limit access to the site
Yes.
is the point?
Yep.
Okay.
So is there gonna be a structure in there to house the technical equipment to manage that gate and lighting and security cameras and stuff?
There needs to be some kind of shed, but we don't have one on the design right now. We did have a plan for that. There's a way we can run the stuff into a box, but ideally, there would be some type of structure, and like I said, it'd probably be next year is his plan to put in the full repair shop. So his plan, and this was early, obviously, we've been working on this for a while. He was hoping to have some revenue from the park already so that he could move forward with his next phase. So that's definitely in the works, and we do have an engineer on board for electrical, water, and sewer. The owner's not ready to do those things financially at this point, so that's where we're at with the design.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So there used to be, I thought, on 81, and this is probably a KDOT question more than anything than a city question, but there used to be signs, no Jake engine brakes, coming once you hit the city limits of Haysville, I thought. But I don't remember if that's just me thinking wrong or what, but that would be a noise concern for me.
I'm younger than him, so no. I see a few of you shaking your heads. Is that something you remember?
Yes, it is. It was posted on US 81, Rob, that there was no Jake breaks within 5 miles. I don't remember. There was a distance into the city limits.
Was
I don't
that,
know if it's still there.
I think the sign's still there.
There is a sign on South Broadway.
is there?
Is there?
Okay.
That was a concern of mine, was it doesn't matter if it's a gravel hauler, a grain hauler, a equipment hauler, whatever it is, a semi loaded, 80,000 pounds, coming into there at 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, and hitting that Jake brake. It's gonna, with those straight pipes on some of those trucks, you're gonna hear it. I'll hear it in my house, 2 miles away. mile and a half
Says no
away.
engine braking.
So,
Okay. You think that still exists?
I think the sign still exists,
Is
because I
it?
remember seeing it recently.
Okay.
Somewhere down South Broadway on the west side.
So,
that's probably a KDOT question, I would assume.
probably, if it exists. Dan, would you mind stepping back up? I have a question for your group, and I think you're gonna represent them, so.
Please.
The other question I had was, the applicant is asking for 4:30 AM to 9 PM. Staff's recommending 5 AM to 8 PM. I get that 4:30 in the morning is very early, but if they can move trucks in and out prior to 7 o'clock in the morning when all those buses and everybody else is coming out to go to school, that seems like a better solution to me. But ultimately, your opinion, I think, would be valuable.
Your thought there is very well accepted and understood, but I think we're overlooking the major thing, and that is primarily Blossom Avenue. KDOT has very strictly said no. So why are we allowing Haysville to say, yes, come in our city street and tear up our street instead of coming in off of an entryway that's built up, drainage is applied, all the things I have no idea how that's taken care
Well,
of.
what KDOT is saying is, they don't want a new access point.
Exactly.
What's there now, they have to live with. So they have to provide access to this property on one side or the other.
Okay,
And if they don't allow it on 81, it has to be on Blossom.
I have a dumb question. Are they allowed to do that are you allowed to have a business off of residential like that?
Well, ultimately, it's not a residential street, it's a collector street. You've got a drive to the garage door that comes off that side, and I get they don't use it very much, but
Oh, I didn't know there was.
that's what
There
it
it
is. So, I get that it's been nothing but a residential in and out for you guys forever.
it's the
but-
only street forever.
But ultimately, that is it's intended to be a collector street, and if all of that zoned out front is commercial,
Mhm.
they would have access to it, whether they had access to 81 or not. So what
Fair
KDOT is saying is, there's so many driveways out there, I don't want more, because that's just more potential conflict points, more opportunities for crashes that don't exist now. But if you leave the access points as they are,
Yes, sir.
yes, there are more vehicles, more traffic potentially, but at least they're all coming at places where people are used to seeing cars come from.
They gonna put a stoplight there?
No.
That, you know how long
Do-
they're gonna be waiting to get in and out of there?
Well,
Do we know if 81 is still subjected to be 4-lane out to the casino? Because that was a plotting, and that was part of Haysville's design improvement that they were gonna do, was 4-lane down. What
Yeah.
will they do then?
that
to
was,
the
that was
entryway?
part of the traffic study that was done with the casino.
Yes,
And
sir.
I think what we have all realized now is that not as many people are taking Broadway to the casino as that study intended.
Okay.
So they built a 3-lane intersection at 79th. That's a pretty good indication of what they think is gonna be really in the future. I don't know that it'll probably be 4-lane all the way to 79th in my lifetime, but eventually it'll get there.
Ours.
But it's possible that with commercial development, they could take 4-lane a little bit farther south, since they've got 5-lane almost up to where you guys are at now. But, you know, KDOT's not improving Broadway anytime I'm aware of. It's been the same since the 50s. I don't think they're gonna change anything anytime soon.
And
Unless-
that's what got the gentleman who bought the property in the first place before, your buyer, I'm sorry, I can't think of his, Carlos?
The current one,
Omero
Omero Garcia.
Garcia bought it. What got him in red deep water, I guess we'll say, I'm not a professional at this, but he had so many restrictions being presented to him off of Broadway, step back, and then the drainage, which I can assure you, gentlemen, I live there. I had to have a new driveway put in on my other property because of the one rain we finally got 10 years, that we don't, every 10 years that we get one, when they finished the street, ran off of the property from the VFW and the apartment houses, and it would overflow onto Twin Pines, and it backed into my driveway and buckled it. So I now have a concrete driveway, love it. It was a poor thing to have happen, but if it keeps raining, or if we have that 10-year rain with those trucks sitting up there on raised, packed ground, where's the water gonna go? I know they do a survey, but.
Well, the county drainage requirements are saying that you can't release water at a greater rate than what it was before you developed.
Appreciate that. I
So-
did not understand that.
Yeah, and that's true, and there is there are standards that are set. Infiltration has been tested, we sent the geotech out and they tested the
Oh,
ground.
I watched, I talked to them.
So, yeah, well, you saw them.
I
Yeah.
live there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
live right
So
behind
there,
it.
there is a design for a swale there to capture that runoff.
But that design is very small. I can produce more water sometimes than to fill it off my sprinkler system. So, I'm just trying to say, there's
Kim-
things that need to be thought of further into.
Can we get back to my original question? Do you have thoughts on?
Timing,
Yeah,
that would be much better. Yeah, I would have to say your thoughts are excellent.
is it primarily in the morning, at night? A little bit of guidance would be
The best
helpful.
guidance I can say is the children.
Is it a guarantee? that it's
Well,
only
there's
gonna be-
another thing.
Well, we have some flexibility here. If we want to say you can't have trucks in and out between noon
Right.
and 5, we can propose that. And if they don't like it, then we can
7 a.m.
revisit
to
it,
8
but
a.m. every day, 3.
How about 7 to 7?
2:30? Yeah.
We'd suggest 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock. If he's gonna build another facility up north, this is a small property for him
so
anyhow.
you're saying you want to limit it from 7 to 7?
Do I wanna live in it? No. But I will
Well, but then you got the-
limit it, yes.
Right.
Limit it, we could, 7 to 7.
Well, right, but from like, if we do like, no, right, I don't know how that would work, but on
School
Boston.
School and work traffic.
No, I think what you're saying is
When those
before 7 a.m. and after 7 p.m. is when they can operate?
No.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You want it just during the day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
Yes, during those hours.
Would that not be?
That's right in the middle of school
With the
kickoff.
bus traffic?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I did forget about that, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, but you guys are all forgetting what it's gonna sound like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when
Yes.
all these semis start up.
Right.
Can you imagine living next to that?
Right.
I do, my lot, I have 2 lots, half of the west side is mine. So, yes, I am probably your most concerned property owner, other than the wonderful new neighbor that I have and the new neighbor next to her. They're brand new, they had no idea this was coming.
So when school is in session, by what time of day are the buses gone?
8:30?
8:30. I don't have
It
children.
should be done about 8:30.
6:30?
They're out of the neighborhood.
When is-
on
when is-
buses.
Oh, by 8:30.
By 8:30.
By 8:30.
Yes.
Okay, and
Probably.
They come in
because
about
we've got
3:30,
middle school
3:30.
campus And elementary picked up, so they're staggered start times.
That's true. And we have another bus for disabled children. I just said what I want to say. They're great kids, but they come in twice. They go 2 different ways with children that are challenged. And so their time frame, I can't tell you what that is, other than I know the children and I've seen them and talked with their parents, but I don't have a direct time frame. That's why we're so concerned about this.
so if we're gonna limit potentially traffic coming in and out,
Yes, sir.
you guys are okay with 8 a.m.,
No?
9
I guess
a.m.?
not.
It would,
There's,
it would have to be after all the buses have left the neighborhood. And then they'd have to be done before the buses come back in.
I
This
don't
is gonna be a really big
he wouldn't be able to
concern,
do that.
is that Broadway narrows from 4 lanes to 2, right where Blossom hits.
Literally.
And Blossom is not a very wide street, so those semis are gonna need a big turn radius just to get, forget the concrete entrance off Blossom. They have to get onto Blossom. And that's gonna take a wide turn radius. And that's gonna block the whole street as they try to get in. There's a lot of concerns, but that is a very dangerous intersection right there, where it narrows from 4 lanes to 2. It is crazy. scary.
Okay, we're getting off the rails, and I tried to ask a question, tried to get an answer, but this is clearly,
We don't have a time frame, sir.
okay, thank you.
You said 8 to 3?
So, discussion.
What is the current noise ordinance in Haysville?
No, 4:30.
I don't know.
We didn't do Las Prairie at 4.
Staff may be able to help you with that.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
What?
Does anybody know the current noise ordinance in Haysville, what the hours are?
As far as like a nuisance
Yes.
or, it would be after 11. Hold on. But if you're talking about from the noise from a truck pulling in, I mean,
No, but engines starting up, 4, 5, 6 engines starting up all at once.
but they wouldn't be able to be after hours, so that wouldn't be, that's covered in here for the hours that we were looking at. So they wouldn't be pulling in and out of the after hours. So that's why the suggested 8 o'clock would be before that, time frame.
But how early? And to their point, if I was sleeping at 4:30 in the morning and a bunch of trucks fire up, I'm not gonna be sleeping anymore.
Exactly. Imagine working second shift and being woken up right after you fell asleep.
So I'm wondering what the beginning of that is and what a reasonable time would be to limit that.
Especially 60 trips a day. They do state in here that it can be up to 60 trips a day maximum, including weekends. Now, we do want to think about weekends also. This is quite a load on, as you very well put, and that Haysville's gonna have to do something with Blossom and very soon.
It's probably gotta be 6 or 7 a.m. I would guess it's sunrise thereabouts. But I think Georgie's looking it up.
I'm looking for a time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is not really a zoning change, it's just removing the overlay or modifying the overlay?
What we have is a property that is zoned heavy commercial.
Right.
What we're looking at is a conditional use to
Okay.
allow this specific use as vehicle storage in
Right.
heavy commercial.
Okay, so this wouldn't fall under the state law concerning zoning changes where we got in trouble, last year, year before?
Well, every public hearing and every decision we make is still governed by the rules of Golden.
Yeah.
So it has to be, and it's on page 2 of what, I don't know, maybe I'm not,
Second page of the script that everybody has for the criteria.
The golden questions.
yeah.
So in the noise thing, there's like lawn care from 7 to 9. There, I don't see, for loud and unnecessary noise prohibited, there's not a time frame. And I think that's because you could have loud or excessive noise during the day that could be a nuisance that you could turn in. So I see lawn care on there, but I don't see any other time frame. So something else could be a nuisance during the middle of the day.
Sure.
We've had nuisance complaints from machinery from a residential neighborhood, so.
Sure, but in the morning, you can't mow your lawn before 7 a.m. because of
7 a.m. to
noise.
9 p.m.
My thought was that aligning, if we're gonna put a restriction in the morning, aligning it to that might be reasonable for the same purpose.
My only concern is that time frame puts it right in the same time the buses are in and out, which I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah,
So-
I get that. Could we push them back past the buses?
Well, that's what we're talking about, 9 o'clock. But then you go to, how late at night? 8, 9?
Whatever that ordinance is, I believe it goes to 10 or 11, actually.
Yeah, I think 8 may be reasonable, but
Yeah.
I have another concern.
I-
Wouldn't we
The-
need sorry,
the public comment portion is closed.
okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, but I called him back up to answer a question, and it already got out of hand, so. Any more discussion? Then-
Since we're here, can we hear her concern? Please?
Sure.
I don't know if there's 3 or 4 entrances into like the older neighborhood plus the new neighborhood. Plus with those trucks, wouldn't we need like a stoplight maybe to control the traffic flow? I mean, cause it's already congested over there as it is.
Which neighborhood are you talking about that has multiple entrances?
Well, you have the one to Blossom, and then just on the other side of the VFW, you have
Springs
another
Circle.
entrance. And they're just all like spaced out where, I mean, you're gonna have a lot of congested traffic right through there, plus with these big trucks. And then people trying to leave to go to work and school and,
So I can tell you that a traffic signal has specific warrants that need to be met. Those warrants, there's 8 of them, are peak hour volume, 8-hour volume, 24-hour volume, a crash rate. And without even looking at numbers, we are not even close to coming close to getting a signal warranted at this intersection.
okay.
More discussion.
Would there be a way to restrict, I know we talked about restricting idling, but, I mean, I'm not gonna start my semi, jump in it and run off. You don't do that. You gotta let them run, before you leave, before you come in. When you come in, after getting them off the road, you're gonna let it idle. You know, but they don't have to idle an hour. I'm just wondering if there's an idle restriction time limit.
And I don't know enough about it to know whether or not they pull them in there and let them run all night.
They wouldn't be able to let them run all night because that would be in the conditions
That's
that we
in there.
listed.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about idling, so that I can't answer.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a carb issue, an air quality issue, which isn't here, but I mean, you could base it off of maybe somebody, like, you know, like a California standard or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but that would be, you know, if somebody came in and started their truck and did their pre-trip, that truck could sit there for 45 minutes and idle before they left.
Well, and during the winter, they have to warm up
Correct,
before
yeah.
they take off.
Yeah,
So
or cool
they
down.
have
I
to
mean,
sit there.
worst thing you can do to a big diesel motor's get in it, start it, and drive away. You know, you gotta let them warm up, you gotta let them cool down. I get that. I'm just wondering about time limits, that's all.
Anybody have a motion?
I'll move that we recommend the approval of a conditional permit with the conditions recommended in the packet, with the addition of a wood fence to surround the property and operating hours between 9 AM and 10 PM. I'm sorry, 9 AM and 8 PM.
So the wood fence is already in there. It would just be amending the hours of operation. So just so everyone's clear.
So modified.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and second to approve with modified hours from 9 AM to 8 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
I vote aye.
It's 3-2.
Yeah.
Motion carries. So I just wanna make clear, because Dan said that he wasn't aware, so, this conditional use will have to go to city council on 10/15 for final approval, and that will go before the planning commission. There is not a public hearing at planning commission. There is there's not a public hearing, but you can sign up to speak. I would highly recommend that you contact your council member before the meeting, is probably a better way to go than trying to have everyone or have a spokesman for the meeting, so.
You said planning commission, but you mean
Yeah.
city council?
What?
You said planning commission, you mean city council?
City council, I'm sorry.
Who is our council member, Georgie? We're in two. Yeah, I know. I can't remember his name either.
Is yours Marvin? No, that's 3. I should know this.
He might be.
Two, if you're Ward 2, it's Janet and Dandar, Janet Barton, Dandar. Contact phone numbers are listed on the webpage.
Dan Binner.
Dan Benner.
You're gonna submit that on the 15th?
Yes.
Correct, Richie? Thank you.
Yep. So if you guys are staying for the rest of the meeting, you can. If you guys wanna go out now, we usually kind of let people go out just for the commotion to die down.
But this was not a visiting session for our neighborhood. Can't believe you're gonna put the onus of the taxpayers in Haysville to pay for Blossom. Unreal.
Okay. Item C, we have discussion of zoning charts and definitions.
So this is just a review of the zoning changes proposed to the zoning chart and the definitions. A public hearing will be needed at a later date for final changes to be submitted to City Council. And that public hearing will be held at some point before the end of the year. We're gonna start with the zoning chart. On the first page, we added renewable energy system. It will not be permitted in any districts. And then on the second page, for warehouse self-storage, we removed a conditional use in the light commercial district and changed to a conditional use in the heavy commercial district. And then on the final page of the zoning chart, we removed as a principal use from storage outdoor. It is no longer, we removed permitted use from heavy commercial and added it as a conditional use in light industrial. We also changed the conditions to delete the no operable vehicle storage for more than 45 days, as no operable vehicles are allowed in that district anyway. For vehicle storage yard, we removed the conditional use in the heavy commercial and then changed the spelling on agriculture. And that is it for the zoning chart changes.
Any questions?
Renewable energy, is that anything renewable energy? Solar, wind, anything?
Wind and solar, yes. For the zoning definitions, there are multiple formatting changes that were marked by the definitions listed twice. There are also some grammar and simple word changes that I will not be touching for the review. But for the first change to the zoning definitions is on page 4 for accessory structure and accessory use. We changed our definition to adopt Wichita's. The next change will be on page 7. For building accessory, we have deleted building accessory in favor of using accessory structure and accessory use. On page 8, we have changed master plan to comprehensive plan and listed it alphabetically. The definition has stayed the same. On page 10, for detached structure, we've deleted this definition in favor of accessory structure and accessory use. And same on page 10 for family, we have changed this to be in alphabetical order. And then on page 13, for landscaping, we have added a definition for landscaping, and this came from the Wichita Code. And on page 14, we have clarified our definitions for corner lot, interior lot, and through lot. The additions to the definitions came from Wichita. We have also adopted the definition for key lot from Wichita. Again, master plan on page 16, we changed to comprehensive plan and moved to alphabetical order. On page 20, we have deleted place and planning consultant as they were unnecessary definitions. On page 23, this is where we've added renewable energy systems as a definition. This is just so we know what, or how these are defined. They will not be allowed in any districts. And on page 25, we added a definition for screening solid. This is to help define what solid screening means and hopefully avoid fabric screening in the future. On page 26, we have added definitions for front setback, interior side setback, rear setback, and street side setback. These definitions came from Wichita. And that is all the changes I have today.
Any questions? A general discussion?
Is there a reason for the renewable energy being not allowed anywhere?
Really hasn't been looked at to where we might allow it. More just kind of defining it because they are starting to pop up. We haven't really looked at that yet. It was more kind of making sure we have that definition and that's not permitted at this time, so.
So existing solar panels on houses?
That says commercial on there.
So a lot specifically designed to,
Yeah, this would be a large, yeah, that would be a commercial grade, so, and that would also be a commercial grade wind farm, so.
okay. Yeah,
I know there's been a movement lately to put solar collectors on top of parking lots, which provide shade for the cars and, you know.
or buses, school buses, hypothetically.
Protection from that, but these would be a fixed structure. Would that be permitted or not?
So solar panels are permitted on houses, you have to have the license and everything, I mean.
So if you have an apartment complex and you wanted to shade it and collect some sun at the same time, would that?
Can you read that definition?
The definition we added for solar energy conversion system means a commercial facility that converts sunlight into electricity, whether by photovoltaics, concentrating solar thermal devices, or other conversion technology, for the primary purpose of wholesale sales of generated electricity, and includes all associated support facilities, including but not limited to roads, substations, operation and maintenance building, as specified in the application.
So if
this-
you're a commercial site and you're using it yourself, it doesn't apply.
Yeah, we're talking about a large scale.
For distribution and sale.
Yeah, a lot of panels.
Okay.
100-acre lot of solar panels.
Everybody else good?
Yeah.
Thank you. Item D, election of officer, secretary.
Since we now have Kaylin as our planning and zoning administrator.
Are there any nominations?
I would nominate
Kaylin,
Kaylin to serve as secretary.
I'll second that nomination.
a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
You've
Welcome,
been
Kaylin.
drafted.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on being elected. No old business, no correspondence.
I have nothing.
Okay. Why don't you cover that before this?
Well,
Off agenda, Deb, please go.
okay, thank you. Gathering at the gazebo will be September 21st. There's going to be music and crafts, food,
Art.
art. Oh, that's right, there's an art walk this year. It starts that's a Saturday, September 21st, and it starts at 4:30. And then trick or treat on Main Street will be October 31st, and it is on Main Street in Haysville. the businesses there, and it's from 4 to 6 p.m.
Thank you, Deb. Item A, next meeting date?
October 10th.
When?
October 10th, Thursday, October 10th.
Item 9.
I move we adjourn.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, everybody.